What's going on, guys? Yoel here, and welcome to Confabulate, the podcast where we talk about anything and everything. I'm your host, Will Sanchez. Thank you so much for stopping by. And this week, you guys, we have Nicole Anastacio coming back on the podcast. I'm so shocked that she responded to my text. I'm so shocked that she said yes. I'm so shocked that everything worked out perfectly, that she came over and we had the most incredible episode. I'm not even joking with you. This is one of my favorite episodes I've ever done. In the 4 years I've been doing this. I'm so grateful to her. Thank you so much, Nicole, for being so kind, for being so full of light, and for just being the most incredible guest. I'm so lucky to have you a part of my show. So thank you so much. This is Nicole Anastacio, guys. Hope you enjoy it. Okay, and then I put Ratatouille just to have something to watch on the way.
I was looking at that and I was like, oh my god, I haven't seen this movie in so long.
Oh, it's beautiful. I recorded last night and I put Avengers and there was so much action going on.
God.
I'm like,
and you're
ooh.
like, I know, getting some, with my ADHD, I'm just like, oh my god, what's happening now?
We just talked briefly about school.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has their own school journey.
Oh,
everyone's very different.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about your school journey with college and all that stuff.
Yeah, honestly, I think this is like a topic that should be talked about more because not everybody's on the same timeline, and
right.
I think when you're in college and you're getting, or not in college, like when you're in high school getting ready for college, because usually in high school that's what they set you up for. It's like, oh, you're going to college. They never, at least at North County, they never really gave us like other routes to go into life. Like they didn't really support like kids who wanted to get into like the beauty industry, kids who wanted to do like automotive, and it's like they really pushed college on us when college isn't for everybody, you know? And not only that, but it's expensive. Not everybody has the means to go to college. Some people have responsibilities at home. And that was like a big thing for me. It was like hard to choose between college or the responsibilities that I had at home. Mm-hmm. And ultimately I did choose the responsibilities at home. And so decided to go to a 2-year college. I went to MPC for 2 years. Yeah. And then after that, I took a 3-year break because I didn't have enough money to pay for like my tuition. Yeah. And so I decided just to work. But then once I worked enough to get the tuition money, that's when COVID hit. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to take 2 years off COVID because I just can't do online school. With my ADHD, I get distracted. I forget things. So I was, okay, we're just going to give it another 3 years. And then I traveled for a little bit. So then I did that. And then finally I was okay, like I think I'll go back because I do want to get my degree, but I just couldn't decide like in what. But I really do enjoy history. I don't have good memory, but I do like learning about it, like why things happen the way they do, the decisions that alter different things within not just our country, but like the countries around us. I find that so interesting. And I think it's really important for people to be knowledgeable about those things, you know? And so that's my major is history. And right now I'm on my second to last semester. And like, there are times when I think about it, because a lot of people our age are done with like school, right? They're like, they have like their degree, they're doing other things. Yeah. And I think it's so easy to feel like you're falling behind and to feel like, okay, like I'm not on par with everybody else. Like I'm not where I should, like quote unquote, should be, whatever that means. Yeah. And so I think trying to get rid of that like stigma that, oh, there's a certain timeline that you have to follow in your life. Because I think that's so untrue. And I think that like school's always going to be there. That's something that I always tell myself too. And it's like, if I want to do other things, other experiences, I should be able to without feeling guilty, without being like, oh, but I have to finish school. Oh, I have to do this. And granted, like some people, that like that's like the path that they want to finish school then do things afterwards, but like I think there's a lot of people who don't really want to do that. Like they want to experience other things after high school, because I mean, think about it, we've been in school since like 5 years old until 18 and they're like, okay, 4 more years, and it's like, okay, I just need a moment, like I want to do other things. And I'm honestly really happy that I did what I did. Like I'm happy that I didn't go straight into a 4-year. Like I do regret it sometimes, like just seeing other people like not move on with their life, but like be finished and start going forward. But I'm also not like upset with how my life has been. I really enjoyed it. I think I have a lot of experiences and things that I can say other people haven't experienced, and so but
I have a very similar experience with school. Everyone has their own path, and I felt very behind too, and you can't help but to compare yourself. You're like, oh, they graduated already and I'm still here like confused and lost. And I was a psychology major at first. I liked it at first. I did enjoy it, but then I took statistical psychology. And oh my god, I'm like, I don't know if this is meant for me, because it's not really my passion. I just thought it was interesting, but I always knew my passion was music. But it's hard to to tell people that and for people to take you seriously and for
Right?
people to doubt in the arts in general.
Yeah, like any VP, like any visual performing arts, I think there's a stigma.
Yeah,
It's like, well, what are you going to do with that? And it's like, well, I think
exactly.
our society is so wired to be like, oh, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to make money? But it's like, why can't I go into a major that I genuinely enjoy? Like people ask
Yes.
me, like, oh, what are you going to do with your history major? Absolutely nothing. Like, I think I want to open a coffee shop that has nothing to do with my major, but it's like, I want to go to school to learn. It's like growing up in my immigrant like household, I didn't really learn much or even know much about the United States or about histories in general besides like Filipino history, right? And it's like this is an opportunity for me just to be like give myself more knowledge about what's going on around me, you know? And I think a lot
Yeah.
of people lack that like drive, which sucks, but it's like something that's like, well, why can't I just go to school to learn? Like, why is it always
Yes.
like, oh, you're in school so you can make money? Yes, that would be so great. Yes, I would love to make money in the future, but it's also like I'm not going to sit in like a math class that I hate, right? Where I don't understand anything. I'm stressing myself out. I'd rather be in a history class where I am thinking about like these things that should be talked about, right? And I find interest in it and I'm writing my papers and I love writing my papers because it's something that I genuinely care about, you know?
Wow.
Yeah. And I wish there was more light on that instead of like, oh, well, let's go
Yes.
on a route that you want to make money. Like I know so many kids. I used to work at the high school for a little bit. And I worked with a lot of students. And when they were getting ready for like college, it was very like, well, this, like, I would ask them, what are you going to go into school for? You know, and they're like, well, I want to do like math or I want to do computer science because like money. And it's like, but do you like that? They're like, no, but I really want to make sure that I make money in the future. And it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
yes, like you definitely should think about like to secure your future, but also think about yourself. You have one life and you want to make sure that you're happy with what you have left. You know, like with when you're at that age where it's like time to go or like, you know, like you're getting old and you can't really do much. It's like, can you look back and really be like, I honestly am happy with what I did. You know, like I was very like everything that I did in my life
Yeah.
was fulfilling, you know?
Yeah, and it takes a minute to realize that too, because there was
Yeah.
one day where everything made sense for me and it snapped, and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna pursue this, not care what anyone has to say about it, and do me, because I work for my dad's business and
Yeah.
for his plumbing company. I work in the office and I love it. I love office work, but you can do multiple things. You can do anything you want to do.
Exactly.
And I'm like, yeah, I want my music degree because I want it for me. I want my degree for me. This is a life goal.
Right.
And who knows what I'm going to do with it, but at least I did it. And at least I went through that experience and I studied something that I love and something that makes you happy.
Yeah, and it's so great that like you're able to even like say that or be able to even go that route. I think a lot of people are intimidated to go that route because of what society, what their family, what their parents are telling them, or even seeing their friends who are going a different route than them. They want to make sure that I'm not falling behind, you know? And it's like, no, like, but it's not falling behind because again, everybody's on their own timeline. You can't fall behind when you're comparing yourself, you know, like compared to what I'm doing in my life. I'm not falling behind. I think I'm right where I'm supposed to be. I think I'm doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing. And I don't regret it. Like I don't, you know, and I think I wish more kids and like high schoolers like realize that when they decide to like their next steps out of high school, whether it be college, whether it be like a trade school, even not even school, if they just want to go straight into the work field, like it's totally fine. Whatever you choose, you know, you shouldn't feel ashamed for it or feel like you're falling behind or feel like, you know, you're not doing the quote unquote right thing, you know?
That's a big reason why I decided to do a scholarship at North County.
Yeah, yeah.
I've done it for 2 years now. This will be the third year.
So amazing.
Because there are so many of us that go to North County that are artistic and that want to draw and paint and sing and dance. And I've always wanted to do piano and theater, and we didn't have those kind of opportunities and stuff, and choir. But I know there's so many of us that are so gifted and so talented, but we just don't have the opportunity to showcase what we can do. So with the scholarship, I'm just like, type about your passion, what art you love. I want to hear your true heart come out in that paper. There's no requirements. I don't care about your grades, your GPA. I don't care about letter of recommendation. I want to feel you and hear you through your paper.
Yeah.
And because there's so many, you know, condors out there that love to do stuff like that. So I do that every year just to, I don't know, show people that you can be proud and be grateful for the gifts that you have. And it's so hard. This past year, there was over like 25 of them, and they were all so good. That was the hardest thing I had to do in my life. I talked to my dad about it. I'm like, I only need to pick one. So he helped me out. We were able to pick 3 instead of 1.
That's so sweet. Yeah,
But
I remember you
still,
posting about that. And I honestly, it's so amazing that you do that. I think it gives students the chance to really think about their passions and really think about what they want. I think coming from the area that we grew up in and like the school that we went to, a lot of the kids don't have time to pursue their passions. It's like they're taking care of their families, they're taking care of, you know, their siblings, helping their parents to make money for their families. It's like with the people, like with us and like who we grew up with, sometimes we don't get that luxury, you know, to really pursue our passions, right? And when you look at other people who have those opportunities, like they're lucky enough to be able to pursue music because they don't have to worry about finances, you know. You see like these things, and it's so nice to be able like to have someone like you who's like pushing them to even putting that thought into their head that, hey, you can pursue music, you can pursue something that you truly have a passion for. And I think that's so amazing, because I feel not a lot of kids have that, especially with their parents who are like, well, you're gonna be a doctor, you're gonna be this, you're gonna be this. When you have someone outside of like your family or even your friends tell you like, hey, it's okay to pursue something that isn't what society says is okay, is so important. And especially working with kids, and when I hear them like tell me about like, well, I need to do this, I'm like, do you need to though? It's like, what do you want to do? And I think being like putting that scholarship out there to get these kids start thinking like, hey, it's okay to pursue something that's not what everybody else is telling me to pursue. And that's something that it's really important for them to think about, you know. Especially when like I see kids like pick a major and then like halfway through they change, which is good. I'm happy that they do it. But there are a lot of kids who won't change their major. They're, well, I already started, I gotta keep going. And by the time that they're done, they're like, well, I'm not happy with what I did, I'm not happy with where I'm going right now. And it's like, well, if they felt like it was okay to switch it, or even okay to totally drop it in general, go a different route, they probably wouldn't be feeling that way, you know. So I always make it super clear to people that, and kids that I worked with, that when you do something, make sure it's something that you want and not what everybody else tells you. And yes, there's going to be like obstacles in the way, like financial obstacles and other things like that. But it's like, you will find a way around it if it's truly your passion, you know. And for you to even put like the scholarship out there to get them thinking about these things is really important, especially for the community that we come from. So it's really nice. Yeah.
I love what you do too, because I feel like it's important to give back, and you're giving back. And I love that you're helping these kids go through things that you went through too. Helping them, giving them the option to think about like, you can do what you want to do. Because I'm sure when we were younger, like there were times where I wish I had someone like that, like to tell me things like that.
I think that's the biggest thing. It's like me as like the oldest in my family of 5, right? And like my parents being immigrants from the Philippines, not knowing how the United States works. I was always like the one taking care of my siblings. I was the one making sure that they had everything they needed. And like for a long time, I never really had anyone to tell me that it was okay to do my own thing, because it was always like, hey, make sure my siblings are okay, make sure my parents are all right, you know. And then I have this one person in my life who I'm so grateful for. She's basically like my older sister, and if it wasn't for her, honestly, I don't think I would have the outlook that I have right now of being able to put myself first, you know. And like even now it's still a little bit hard, right? Like to put myself first and to think about the things that I want, because it's always like, well, making sure that my siblings have what they need, making sure that my mom and my dad have what they need, you know. Just like that older sister, like, you know, being the oldest in the family of an immigrant family is really hard, you know, especially in the United States. And not having that direction, and not having that, not even direction, but that person to tell you like, dude, it's cool to slow down, it's okay to think for yourself, it's okay to put yourself first sometimes. I think that really helped a lot of kids that I worked with, because a lot of them were like the oldest in their family, or a lot of them were like immigrant families, and they want to do what's best for their family, they want to help out. But then sometimes when you do that, when you put like your family first, when you put like your siblings first, your friends, like things, you forget about yourself. And once you forget about yourself, it's so hard to remember, like, not even who you are, but like what your passions are, what you want. I think there was a time like between high school and like college-ish, like 3 years or so after, when people ask me like, tell me about yourself, I could not tell them anything about myself, because it's like I put so much time and effort into other people that it's like, well, I don't even know what I like anymore, I don't even know what I enjoy anymore. And when I realized that was scary. I was like, no, I need to be my own person still. I need to make sure that I put time aside for myself and what I like, the things that interest me. And once I realized that, I think I've been enjoying life a little bit more better. You know, it's like, yes, I'm still struggling financially. Yes, I'm still trying to figure out what the heck I'm going to do in the future. But I will say that things I have experienced, the things I have done, I've honestly enjoyed it thoroughly. Like, I've had such a great time, you know?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been beautiful to see. I see all your posts. You look so authentic and happy and so sure of yourself. Like, I saw your pictures, Conan Gray. I saw Ice Spice. Like, I love that you're living your true self. Which is a good segue because I was planning to talk later about you went to your first Pride.
Oh my God, yes.
We were there together. I'm so
yes,
sad.
I know. I didn't get to see you. I know when I saw your post, I was like, dude, I was there too.
Me too. I was driving back and I saw your post. I'm like, and she was there and I didn't see her. I'm so happy that you went. That was my second one, but my first one was the year before, and it was I really connected with your post, which I hope you're okay. I wanted to read your post, what you put.
Yes. Go ahead and read.
But I love that you were so open about it because I felt the same the first time I went. I felt so seen, and for the first time in a long time, I felt like I kind of belonged somewhere. There were so many people like me, but so happy and proud, and it's
so unapologetically themselves.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
And like I think growing up, again, like where we grew up, and like with my parents, they're very, like, my mom is, at least, is very religious and is very especially coming from like the Philippines, right, like very very strict with like rules. And I grew up in the church I went to church every Sunday for 18 years. Okay, like it was intense. And nothing wrong with religion, obviously. I think religion is a beautiful thing for people to have, but it also sucks when you grew up knowing one certain way and nobody ever telling you that it's okay to venture out and figure things out on yourself. And when I realized that, I was like, whoa, like that's crazy. And like I was never ever comfortable about talking about like the people that I liked or who I had interest in to my parents, okay? Because it's like, well, I know that they would want like, you know, like the stereotypical straight male, like that's who they would want from me, right? But it's like, for me, it's like I really realized this after high school also. It's that I genuinely, when I find attraction to people, it's because of who they are as a person. And I couldn't figure out, like, I always questioned, like, well, was I a lesbian? Was I bi? What is it? Because it wasn't like I didn't just like girls. I didn't just like guys. But I found, like, once I started really sitting with myself and like journaling and writing and thinking about things, it's like I genuinely fall in love with people for their personalities. And I'm like, okay, well, that means I'm neither lesbian. I'm neither like bi. I'm pan. Like, I'm just someone who genuinely falls in love with people's personalities and who they are as a person, right? I could care less if you're a guy, if you're a girl, if you're transgender, if you're non-binary. I don't care. And that was such a eye-opening experience for me. I'm like, wow, like, you know, I like people, and that's that. Like, it's not something, but like, it's like growing up, I've never seen anybody like that, you know, especially within my family, within like the people I was surrounded by. I've never seen I've seen like, you know, like gay or like lesbian people, but never anybody that was like pan, you know, or not even bi people. I haven't really like experienced much as a kid growing up. But it's like, so finding those things out afterwards and then going to Pride and seeing that there's other people like that. Oh my God. Like, it was like, wow, like, that's so crazy, you know, to know that there's other people out there. And like, for a while it was like, not that I was hiding it, I just never talked about it. But if people were asking me like, oh, what are your I will tell them like, yeah, like, no, I'm pan, you know, but I wasn't someone to hide it either. But I also didn't flaunt it, you know. It wasn't something where I was like, oh my God, like, look at me, you know, because of course you're always going to be scared of that, like, backlash that you get, you know, from your parents or like your friends, or you're scared, you know, to like even be like who you want to be. And it's like, I don't want children or the younger generation to ever feel like they can't show that, you know. And so like being around like the kids that I always, like, if they ask me, I was so real with them. Like, if they're like, oh, like, what do you like? And I'm like, well, I'm pan. Like, I'm not gonna hide it, you know. I want them to feel comfortable within themselves to be able to say like, yeah, I'm this or I'm that, without being scared to say that, you know. Yeah,
I love that. Yeah, I grew up Hispanic, growing up going to church every Sunday since I was a kid, singing with the gospel choir.
No, real. Yeah, me too.
The worship team, and like, that's just what you grew up as. And I didn't have a lot of people like in my life that gone through the same things that I went through.
And when then you're told that it's wrong, it's like you try to tell yourself that it's wrong, you know, and then you start to question like, what's wrong with me? Why am I like this? Is there something that I need to do to fix myself? When it's like, you're not broken. There's nothing to fix. And it's not that it's quote unquote wrong. And I think it's so important for people that like to like branch out and see other things. And it's like growing up knowing one thing your whole life, that's all you know. And some people will never stray from that. But there are people who don't fit whatever path that their parents paved for them, or like just society in general has paved for them. And I think it's just so important to go away from that sometimes, just to really see. And if you go away and you realize that that was for you, that's amazing, right? But then there are a lot of people who will go away from what they grew up with and realize like there was so much more to me than what my parents or what, you know, my family or like society or my church was telling me that I should be, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I'd love to read your post because it did move me. And I think it is important for people to hear that, and for I love your pictures. I love what you put. You put
Thanks.
Happy Pride. My heart was so full this weekend. It was so incredible to be surrounded by so much love and good vibes. It was amazing to see people be unapologetically themselves, seeing families with their children, teaching them and encouraging them to love whoever they choose. Absolutely warmed my heart. Sappy story incoming, but it was a beautiful story. I loved it. A couple of moms were holding signs that said, "Free mom hugs," and when I hugged one of them for fun, my eyes instantly started tearing up. She hugged me in a way I imagined a mother would. With so much sincerity and love, I told her I appreciated her, and she said, "I'm so happy that you are here." And wow, that really did something to me. Just thinking about it is making me tear up right now as I write this. I know, super sappy, but the way she said it and the meaning behind it truly meant a lot to me. She made me feel like it was okay to take up space. To be accepted by mother for who I am made me feel some type of way. My 11-year-old self could only dream of a time like this. A time where I'm not embarrassed or guilty to be who I am, a time where I'm able to love who I want to love, a time where I am accepted for me. I truly hope that one day everyone in this world can be unapologetically themselves and be able to love who they want to love because they deserve it. My first Pride was truly a great one. Much love from your fave Pan. And yes, my outfit was inspired by the soon-to-be Pirate King himself, Monkey D. Luffy.
Yes, and I still stand by that. I think about that interaction a lot, and it's like, again, like I love my mama. I do. I love her so much, and she does the best that she knows. But when you grow up the way that she did and have the beliefs that she does, it's hard for some parents, and it's true. Like a lot of parents around the United States and around the world, it's hard for them to see outside of their religion and outside of what their beliefs that they have and the beliefs that they grew up with.
Yeah.
And so it's like I've never ever felt like that true acceptance of who I was. And even though my mama will say, "No, I do love you no matter what," but there's always a but, you know. It's like there's always like but I know that if I were to bring a girl home, she wouldn't be like 100% happy. Yeah, she'd be like, "Okay, like, you know, like it like, yeah, we'll accept you, but what does that mean, you know?" And so like just being there and like just even getting like a hug for someone who truly like accepted you no matter what, that was like, oh my gosh, like I literally was like crying. My eyes were tearing up. I was like, this is just such an like a feeling that I've never felt before. And like to even know like, and I know that there's so many people and kids and even adults who are still in that space of not receiving like the love that they deserve or the acceptance that they deserve. And that hurts. It like breaks my heart to know that they're going through that, you know?
Yeah, I've read some horrible stories and things that happen, and I'm so lucky. We're so lucky.
Yeah.
And every time I've been there, I was like, oh my God, this has been going on, and this is my first time here, and I feel like I belong. And then I posted something a couple years ago, and you actually swiped up to it.
Yeah.
And it's something I typed out, which I'm gonna read it.
Yeah.
Then this was my first post ever like talking about anything Pride related, because I was very private about it.
Yes.
And I only told personal friends and family, and I did a video, but I didn't post a lot or do a lot of Pride things. But this was my first post, and it said, seeing as Pride Month is almost over, I wanted to share what the word pride means to me. When I think of the word pride, I think of all the years I had to be someone else. I think of all of the times I had to watch what I was wearing. I think of all of the times I had to be manly and do manly things. I also think of all the times I had to lie to not only myself, but to everyone around me. Pride is so much more than just sticking a rainbow on a t-shirt or a sweatshirt. Pride represents all of the times we wanted to take our own life just because we were different. I'm so grateful and I'm so happy that we are now in a place where people can truly be themselves without any kind of judgment. My 10-year-old self would be incredibly in shock, and I'm sure he wouldn't believe it. I wanted to take this opportunity to say that you are not lesser for not being out yet, and you have every right to love yourself for who you are. It took me 12 years to come out, and I'm still recovering from it. I've realized that sexuality literally doesn't even matter. Who you love is not anyone's business but your own. It's really not that big of a deal, so I don't know why it is seen as that.
Period.
Anyways, thank you to all of my friends and family for keeping me a part of their lives. I didn't want to disappoint anyone, but I'm now proud of who I am, and I never thought I would make it this far. And we all have stories to tell.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own story. And every time I see the LGBTQ community, it's so much love, happiness, acceptance. And that's why I get annoyed and mad when we're so attacked all the time by politics and the government. Literally, our president the other day said something so disgusting, and it makes me mad because we just want to be treated like everyone else.
We just want to literally be people, you know. It's
just like we all want to be loved. We want to be happy. I want to get married just like you want to get married. I want to have kids. Like, why can't we all just be seen the same? You're trying to hurt us, but we're just trying to be treated equally.
It's like, for them to be so scared of something that doesn't pose a threat is so mind-blowing to me. And like you said too, it's like looking, like both of us, like looking back to our like 11 or 10-year-old selves. It's like when I now, for me, one thing that I always tell myself when I decide to do stuff, when I'm doing things, it's like, would 11-year-old Nicole be happy with who you are? Would they be so like, would they look up to you? And I can confidently say yes. Like as an 11-year-old girl, like I was always told like, well, you shouldn't be as big as you are, you shouldn't be as bulky as you are, you shouldn't have tattoos, piercings, like that's not who you should be, you know? But then I am that right now. Like I weight lift, I power lift, I have tattoos like all over me. I
and
have
you kill it. You
Thank
kill
you.
it.
Thank you so much. And it's just, it's like if 11-year-old me were to see myself, I would be like, that is one cool bitch. Like she is so cool. She's unapologetically herself. And I think that's what everybody should be, you know? And that's what's one thing that gets me like through what I, again, make my decisions or like choose to do what I do. It's like, will my 11-year-old self be okay with who I am? And 100%, I think if I met her, she'd be crying. I'd be crying, you know? Yeah. And it's definitely like this like journey of like trying to heal that inner child, you know? I buy the things that I buy because I never got it as a kid. You know, I do things that I do now because I couldn't even imagine doing that as a child, you know? And so it's like, I do it for that. I do it for her, my like little self. That's what I do, the things I do for. And for a while, it was never like that. It was like, well, I have to do things for my family. I have to do things for my siblings, my friends. Not once did I ever think about me or even like my little child self, you know? But like now it's like, that's who I definitely prioritize. And when I do stuff, it's for her, you know, and for myself. Yeah.
Wow. I love that. I love that.
Thanks.
Let's move on to tattoos. I know.
Yeah.
I know you have a lot of tattoos. Any new ones since the last time?
You know, I honestly, I lose track of like where I'm at right now. The most recent one that I've got is this one of my cat. Oh my gosh, do you want to see it? Let me put my little mic down. I feel like, okay, let me take off my jacket so it's not.
Malia does some of them, right?
Yeah, Malia did 2 of my tattoos, and I love them. And it's so precious because, like, you know, she's one of my best friends, and so be able to have like her work on me is so great. But this is the most recent one that I got. It's a portrait of my cat Suki, and she just look at her, look at how angry she looks. It's literally how she looks 24/7. It is so funny. But my friend Ariel did this one. If you ever want a cool pet portrait, definitely check Ariel out.
Beautiful.
She's in Burlingame. Yes. She's super cute. The ones that Malia did are in the back. She did a little cinnamon roll and Togepi because I love Togepi from Pokemon and cinnamon roll from Sanrio.
Beautiful.
But I have a lot. My arms are definitely filling up. I have a few. Like this one right here is it's a tattoo of Filipino goddesses, and that's one thing too that I realized with me going into like adulthood, I guess, quote unquote. I still feel like a child, but I've been really intrigued with like my culture's mythology, and it's so hard to find information about our mythology because, like, you know, when we were colonized by like the Spaniards and stuff, all that was like erased. And it's a part that was never really talked about growing up as a kid because, like, my parents, you know, barely even were exposed to it, and it's just so nice, like just finding the history of the Philippines that is not taught anymore, you know. And these were like the goddesses that I learned about, and I think they're all so beautiful. And it's so great to think that the Philippines used to be not a patriarchy, but a matriarchy, right? Where women were appreciated, were valued for who they were and what they did. And I think, we just need that back. I feel like, you know, and so it's really powerful to see what the Philippines and even other like cultures or other countries used to be before like colonialism and the patriarchy took over and stuff. But you know, I have a lot. Most of my tattoos are anime tattoos, as you can see. There are a few that aren't anime, but most of them are.
Yeah, but I love it because each one's important to you, and each one has a story and a message.
And I'm a very strong believer of, even if it doesn't have a meaning or no message behind it, if you like it, by all means, get that tattoo. It ultimately, at the end of the day, it's your body and it's on your skin. It's not on anybody else's skin. Like, you're the only one who's gonna have to deal with if there are any consequences, which there usually never are. But if there are any consequences of you getting that tattoo, you're the one dealing with it. And so I don't know why it's anybody else's problem. And same with piercings. It's like, if you get those piercings, it's on your body. It's why do people care? You know, it's like, why are you so bothered? Like, you know. But no, I love all my tattoos. Some of them are like super just silly and like super like last minute, but I still love them all so much.
I have my next tattoo scheduled and think in 2 weeks I'm gonna get one. I've only done like arms, so my first one's gonna go here. It's the Puerto Rico.
Oh my god!
I'm gonna get the island of Puerto Rico here, but that'll be my 5th. I try to get one every year around January, around my birthday.
Yeah.
Because the older I get, the more forgetful I get.
Oh, 100%.
So every time I look at a tattoo, it takes me back to that time where I was and things that happened. It's like memories with me. Like I don't know, memories. So my first one, and I won't be able to show you all of them, but
No, yeah.
that's my first one.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I love music. I'm just going to start it off with the treble clef. My second one, there's my whale.
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah, that's Mateo.
Yeah.
And then I don't think I could show you the other one. Maybe I can. Yeah.
I know, with the sleeves, it's hard.
This is third, treat people with kindness.
Oh my gosh, yes. Harry Styles, I love it.
Yeah, I wanted either be kind or something about kindness.
Of course, yeah.
But I love Harry and I love that song, so I'm like,
double purpose, right?
it worked together. So yeah, and then last year, this one here.
Oh my God.
People that don't know just don't know, but people that know, they know.
Okay, I know it's music. I always get them confused. It's either Ed Sheeran or...
It's Ed, yeah.
Yes. I'm so bad when it comes to like making faces of people, but I do know it's like all their albums, right?
It's
like they have,
all of his albums. Yeah, some people just think, oh, math, but I'm like, no.
You're like, no,
Ed
actually,
Sheeran.
I'm terrible at math. Thank you, though.
Yeah, his first album plus, and then we have multiply, divide, equals, and subtract.
I love that.
And that's like years in the making, because I remember I was like 11 when his first album came out. So, and I got this when I was 24. So it took
something
about.
that you grew with, right?
Yeah,
that's
these are
so great.
all of my albums that mean so much to me.
And that's
then
why,
we
like,
get Puerto Rico this year.
I got my first leg tattoo. It's, oh my God, it's a tattoo of an anime character. And I think when people always ask me, like, oh, well, you know, like, why anime tattoos? And it's like, they're fun. That's like one of the biggest reasons why I love them. But it's also, again, going back to healing that, like, child, that my inner child. As a kid, like growing up, anime wasn't big, right? It wasn't like a big thing. A lot of times people would get bullied or made fun of for it. But it was something that I genuinely loved. It was something that when I would go home, it's something I look forward to doing, like watching once I finished all my chores, all the yard work that I had to do. It's like I looked forward to reading my manga. I look forward to watching the animes I watched. And so, yeah, it may be silly to other people that I get anime tattoos on me, but it's like these animes helped me a lot as a kid get through, like, you know, just get through life and get through, like, as a child, everything is just a lot. You get overstimulated, things seem dramatic, you know, because like you're trying to process all your emotions and everything. But I find that whenever I watched like anime, it always calmed me down. It always got me into like this world that was separate from the one that I was living in. And there were times when I needed that, right? And the same thing with books. And it's like, that's why they're so important to me. And that's why, yeah, like I will get an anime tattoo on me in a heartbeat. Are you kidding me? Like, I may look like a kid tattoo, but it's something that it is important to me and I love it. And even if there wasn't any importance, again, if you want an anime tattoo on you, girl, get it. Like, it's, you know, it's not that serious. Yeah.
I love it. It's gotten so big throughout the years.
Oh, yeah,
anime,
it is.
I love it.
And I'm happy because it's like, animes are great. Like, I love, you get things that you can't really get from movies or shows where real people act, and I love the aspect of it. So yeah,
I started watching Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah. Jujutsu Kaisen. I haven't finished that one yet, but I do like that one. I finished the first season. I like that one a lot. I just can't get past, oh my God, this is a spoiler alert, so if you haven't watched Jujutsu Kaisen yet, please pause or maybe skip a little bit. I don't know, but there's a part where literally one of my all-time favorite characters like dies, and I can't get past that yet. So I'm like, it's like that part I stopped right before he dies, and so no, and I still haven't found it in me yet to like watch it to get past it, because I know I'm gonna cry like a little baby, and I'm not ready for that yet, so I have not gone past that part. I started watching with Andrew. That's probably the first, because I grew up watching Pokemon and Naruto and stuff, like all the classics. But yeah, that's probably the first one. I'm excited too. But my comfort shows and movies as a kid, which I don't even know where I'd be at if it wasn't for Star Wars, if it wasn't for High School Musical. Real. And I did watch a lot of WWE, but they're all very, very different. But yeah, like I felt very, I don't know, I needed that escapism, especially High School Musical. Like I knew all the songs, I knew all the dances, I love the movies. And all the Star Wars characters and everything. Like that was my thing. I had all the toys, I had all the posters. I love that. That's what I loved too. It's like I try to encourage, like, not even kids, but like teenagers, young adults, that Like the little things that you find passions in or that like comfort you are not little. Like there's some things that really do help you get through life and help you, you know, be okay in the moment that you're in. And that's important. It's important to acknowledge that. It's important to be like, yeah, like this may be like a little kid thing, but it's something that really is helping you in that time frame. And maybe even later on in your life, you know, so it's okay to pursue things. It's okay to be a little geek or a little dork when it comes to Pokemon, when it comes to anime, you know, little things like Legos. Like it's something that you are comfortable in and something that makes you find fulfillment and joy. And like, why aren't we allowed to like enjoy the little things, you know? And like people always tell us, oh, enjoy the little things, but when I do, y'all make fun of me for it. It's like when I do, it's like, oh, I'm not an adult anymore. And you know, and it's like, no, like you should be able, even if you are 23, even if you're 40 and you still want to play video games, you still want to, you know, watch your little anime shows, you should. And if you like, then people shouldn't be able to tell you otherwise. It's like, let me be happy, you know?
Yes. That happens I want a Squishmallow, and they're like, why do you want a Squishmallow? I'm like, because look how cute it looks.
Literally, yes.
Isn't this the cutest thing you've ever seen?
Yes, like, and it's like, and if you don't get it, fine. But like, don't make me feel bad for things that I like, you know? Like,
every time I see a Snorlax, I want to buy it. You have so many Snorlax. Well,
like,
I want another one. I want another one.
Exactly. Yeah, no. I'm the same way with all like my little figures, and like I like collect Sunny Angels and stuff, and they're like, why? And it's like, 'cause it brings me joy. Like, I don't know. Is there any other reason that I have to give besides it makes me happy? Like, no.
I love that. Let's talk about your siblings. How's Nayla doing and JoJo?
God.
And
they're all
everyone?
doing really good. Nayla is in Alaska right now. She's doing her thing with like the military. She's in the Air Force, so she's still doing her like her service and stuff.
Beautiful.
Jojo is in college. He's at MPC. He's about to transfer out. Doesn't know where yet, but he's about to transfer out to a university somewhere. And then Nadia, she's in her last year of high school, actually. Yeah.
Oh,
and
with my sister.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're the same grade. And
my God.
this is her last semester, and she's gonna be going to college after that. So everyone's moving. I think as like I think there's like times when I'm like, wow, what am I doing? You know, of course I still ask, even though I'm confident in like who I am and what I'm doing, there of course are going to be times where I'm like, what the hell am I doing? What is going on in my life? Like, what direction am I supposed to go to? Especially when I realize just how old my siblings are getting. That means I'm old because I'm older than them. But yeah, no, they're doing great.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I feel the same way. All my sisters were 7 years apart.
Yeah.
Samira's a senior. She's going to graduate this year.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
I'll see you at the high school graduation.
I'll see you at the graduation. Yep.
See you there. Oh, that just flew by. I just feel so old now. And Aaliyah, she's going to go to middle school this coming year. Yeah.
And it goes by so fast. Like, honestly, like as a kid, when people used to tell us like, oh, enjoy your time, like it's going to go by fast. And as a kid, you just want to grow up. As a kid, you want to like do these other things. And that's why I tell kids, like when I'm around children, I'm always like telling them like, it's okay. Like slow down. It's fine. Enjoy being a kid. Enjoy being a teenager, because it goes by fast. You got all your whole life ahead of you to be an adult. Like, you know, and let's save it for then. You know, you don't want to become an adult too early. And I think a lot of kids nowadays are becoming adults too fast, I guess. It's like, I don't know. You don't see the awkward phase anymore. You don't see them like, I don't know. I feel like they just become adults real too quickly. And I'm like, oh no, you're not going to like this. Like once you actually get out of like high school and out of college, it's not fun anymore unless you let it be, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, that flew by. Your Nayla and JoJo, I remember them being very young.
Being super small. And I still see them as small kids. Like whenever I'm like talking about my like little siblings, I'm like, no, JoJo is like literally 4 feet tall. He's not a 6-foot guy. Like, what do you mean? Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Let's talk about so you said you're on your second to last semester. Are you gonna graduate 2026?
I'm gonna I think honestly I don't even know, but I know my last semester is fall 2025. Okay. It was supposed to be this semester, but my counselor was like, oh, we missed some classes. I was like, girl, what? Anyways, so yeah, my last semester is going to be fall 2025.
Okay. So will you walk early, or you wait till 2026 to walk?
I don't even think I'm going to walk. I don't know. Yeah. I'm still trying to think about it. I mean, when I finished my little associate's degree at MPC, I didn't walk for that. I just had them like I don't even think my parents know that I got my degree for that. That's fine. Mine
was during COVID, so we just did a live stream and we got pizza and that's it.
Like I don't know, like I kind of do, because it's like like all the achievements, like, you know, like the hard work, because, you know, college is not easy. It's stressful, and like there are times when you cry, and yes, I do want to walk, but there's also part that's kind of like, I don't really want to walk. Like I'm happy with like just getting my diploma like mailed to me. So I haven't decided yet. I haven't decided, but we'll find. I'll cross that bridge once I get there.
Yeah, I didn't walk for my last one because the Associates for Psychology, that was during COVID, that was a live stream, but I had to go back to get some music prereqs.
Yeah, of
And
course.
then they're like, oh, you're going to walk again because now you have your Associates in Music. And I'm like, oh, I feel like I cheated my way through it because you just took all my GEDs. I just needed
Yeah.
a few music classes.
Yeah.
They're like, no, you can walk. I'm like, I'm not going to do it. I don't
Yeah.
know. I just felt out of place there.
Yeah.
And then they came in. I'm like, oh, that was easy. But yeah, I think I'm walking 2026. I got 2 more semesters.
Exciting.
Yeah, I'm just a little nervous because if everything has to go perfect, like 15 units, 15 units, exactly.
It's so stressful, and it's like sucks too. It's like you take a class where it's like it just doesn't work for you. Like the way that the professor has the class set up, the way that they grade stuff doesn't work for the person that you are and how you work. Oh my god! And then now you have to take another semester, and it's just it sucks how that's set up like that. But yeah, so it's very high stress trying to finish school, and that's why I also tell people like 4 years is honestly not unrealistic, but it's not ideal for a lot of people, like it's okay to take longer than the 4 years. Girl, I'm what, 24 now, and I'm still in school. Like it's never gonna go away, and it's always gonna be there. Again, everybody's on their own timeline, and it's fine to like not be where everybody else is. As long as you're doing it at your own pace and you're getting it done, if that's what you want, then it's fine. You're okay,
And everyone has different things going on. All my classmates are like, what are you doing after this? We're going to walk to the library. We're going to walk to the school. I'm like, oh, I'm going to work.
Real.
Like, I have work.
Retweet, yeah.
I'm like, I don't live on campus like y'all.
No, literally, people, like a lot of my classmates, they'd be like, oh, let's go do this or go do that. And it's like, girl, I barely have enough time to do anything else. Like, yeah, everybody's on their own page and on their own thing. People come from different backgrounds and different types of support that they have, and you have to take that into consideration. Yeah.
We briefly talked about Captain Stoker. I know you've had quite a few jobs. I remember you had Blaze Pizza.
I have lived many lives.
Any favorite experiences?
Let's see. Think about all the jobs. I think about my resume sometimes, and yes, I haven't finished school yet, but oh my god, that resume is gnarly. Yeah. And mind you, I don't put everything on my resume because it's gonna be a little long. But I've been in food service like the majority of the time. I've been a server. I just ended my job at Noodle Bar in Marina. I was a server there.
Really?
Yeah. I was there for like a year and a half. But it's like the experiences that you get working in customer service is honestly so gnarly. Like that's a skill within itself. When people are like, oh, like what skills do you have? Girl, flex that customer service skill. Cause that is something that not everybody has. Truly. And yeah, a lot of food service. I worked at Home Depot for a little bit. That was really interesting. Whoa. Liked it though. It was a lot of fun. I was a caregiver for a while. Girl, I was getting paid $14 an hour to change catheter bags, do physical therapy. I was like, what is happening? Right. I did that for a year too. And mostly because I really liked the clients that I lived with, or I was not lived with, worked with, because they all lived in a home, and I would go to that home and like take care of them and stuff. And it was nice. It was fun. It was very fulfilling. But there was a time where I was okay. It's getting a little stressful. I'm not getting paid for the work that I'm giving. Yeah. And I think that's one big thing that I also tell my siblings: if you are not getting paid for the work that you are doing and for what you are contributing, you got to get yourself out there. Like, and if you don't get out, then negotiate for a raise. Negotiate to be paid for your time, for your effort, your services, your skills. Don't ever don't agree to terms, I guess, that people give you because like that's what they tell you deserve. If you know you deserve more, make sure you get that. And they're not getting that in that place, leave. And I think that's the reason why I've worked so many jobs, not because I'm lazy, not because I'm not a good worker, because I am a good worker, but it's like once I see that I'm not being valued, I will leave. And I think that's one thing I've noticed with like a lot of older people. They'll stay at jobs or corporate jobs or any type of job for a long period of time because they're like, well, I've been here for a long time. And it's like, and what have they done for you? Or do they value you as a person? Are they giving you raises? Are they giving you the time off that you deserve, that you need? And if they're not, why are you still there for them? And it's like, I think when you work for someone, your work is important, and it's something that they need you more than you need them most of the times, right? Yeah. And make sure you show that. Like, if you're not getting what you deserve, don't be there. Don't put yourself through that, girl. Like, and that's what I do. So it's if I feel like I'm not growing as a person, or I'm not getting what I need or what I deserve, I'm stressed to the point where it's not worth what I'm getting paid, I'll leave. I'm like, yep, that's enough, and that's why I left the high school job, is because I was just doing too much work for the money I was getting paid and the stress that I was receiving, I was like, no, girl, like, y'all think I will just stay just because this is a quote unquote big girl job and that's where I should be at that moment.
Yeah.
I will leave a big girl job for a restaurant job any day if I'm not being treated right. Right. And that's what I did. And so, yeah, I've worked a lot. I was like a finance ASB technician. I worked at Home Depot. I worked at Revival Ice Cream. I was a server for a lot of things. Wow. Now I'm like thinking about it all.
But you have experience now.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything.
Yeah.
I wish I had a job. I've only ever worked in the office.
And that's okay too. Like, honestly, if you, like, one of your strongest skills are just office work, girl, flex that.
Yeah.
Like, be like, yeah, I've been in office work this amount of years. Flex that. Use it to your advantage.
Yeah. But I just wish maybe in high school, a summer job, at least like to know how to use a cash register would be nice. Or I don't know, something, customer service, or how the food industry works.
Yeah.
I always wanted that kind of experience. I think it's important for everyone to have.
Very humbling, you know, and it makes you very mindful of the way you treat other people when you start going out. I think it's a big thing for me as a server and as someone who works in customer service in coffee. It's like, I'm very kind to the people who serve us. I'm very kind to the people who are like my baristas or my cash registers. And granted, yeah, some of them don't deserve the kindness because they are kind of mean sometimes. But in the end, it's like, well, they're also here for 8 hours and they're dealing with tens of thousands of people. And not everyone's going to be nice to them, you know? And so even if they're not their best customer service towards me, I will still be nice to them because I know how it feels. I know how it feels to be on a double. This is my 12 hours. I'm still serving and someone is mean to me. That honestly will bend or break me. Like, I will start crying. And it's like, I don't ever want to be that person to somebody else because I know how it feels, you know? So I'm always going to be nice to my servers and the people who are like service working, I guess, or providing, you know, work for me. So yeah, I think it's a very humbling experience. And you can tell sometimes when someone has never worked a customer service job, not all the time, obviously, but like sometimes with the way that they talk to the workers or the way that they demand certain things, it's like, oh, okay, you obviously have never been in the service industry and you're acting like it, you know?
Yeah, I try to be kind to every single one of my servers.
Yeah.
Every time we leave the table, I'm stacking up plates and putting everything together. And like, what are you doing? I'm like, let me set it up for them. Like, this is a force of habit by now. I'm just trying to make it easier for them because they have so many tables and so much going on.
Like, and you don't really ever really know what's going on background, like behind the scenes. And granted, the people have told me, well, that's not really like my job or not really like, you know, my part. But for me as a person, I just don't feel right with that mentality of be like, oh, it's not my job or I don't care. It's like, no, I care about people and I want to make sure that everybody, like the people that I interact with at least, when they see me, even if they don't remember who I am, that they know that I'm not a bad person. They know that like I care, you know, and I appreciate the work that is seen as lower class work, as seen as, you know, like service working, like, because you know how like a lot of service workers are like working in the food industry is not really looked like they're looked down upon. And I don't ever want them to feel like that their work isn't good. You know, I don't care. Does that make sense?
Because it's needed at the end of the day.
It's at the end of the day, it is a skill to be dealing with people and for hours at that. You know, like there are times when people can't even be around their family for more than 5 minutes. It's like, imagine not being around people who are mean and demanding and they're hungry and they're, you know, upset. And it's like trying to deal with that, navigate around that is hard. It's not easy. And it takes like a toll on your mental stress, you know, and your mental health. And so I always try to be nice and like, you know, be understanding about it. Yeah.
What I don't know how people do is, I don't know if you ever had like the crazy schedule where maybe you have a night shift and then you have a day shift the next day, and then like, because Andrew sometimes he closes and then opens, and then I know a few people that work all night and then rest during the day, but it's different all the time. I wouldn't be able to adjust that kind of schedule.
Yeah, I think, okay, that's the thing about me also, why I'm nice to people. It's like, you never know what they are going through. You never know like what their timeline is. And as someone who constantly has 2 jobs, throughout like my whole life, I've always had 2 jobs. Right now it's been a while since I've only ever had 1 job, but it's that like work where it's like I will do a double. So when I was working at Una Bar, I would do a double like 4 times in a row, right? And that's opening to closing every single day, 4 times in a row. It is brutal. By the time I'm on like my 5th double, my 6th double,
wow,
I am quite literally a zombie. And I'm like, I don't know what's happening right now. Like my brain, there's one little brain cell fighting for its life. It's doing its best. And there are times when it's like you get that one table that's going to give you a hard time. That's going to say some nasty things to you. And I'm just like, why am I here? You know, and for some people, like it will break them. Like I've had some coworkers who will go to a table and they are tired. Like they have school right after school, they come to work, and it's
Yeah.
that every single day. They maybe have 3 hours of sleep, and they will go to a table. A table is literally so mean for no reason. Okay, like
Yeah.
there's like there are times when it's like super fixable, shouldn't be that big of a deal, and they say some of the meanest things. They give so much attitude. And I remember one of my coworkers just like coming to the back and just crying because I'm just so tired, and I'm doing my best. I'm trying to work with them, and it sucks. It sucks when you're on that end of it. And so yeah, it's hard. And
Yeah.
like just working and going to school, and not even just working, going to school, but just working and having to make money. And so you're always picking up extra shifts. You're opening, you're closing 3 days in a row. That's hard. It's
Yeah.
brutal, you know? And so, yeah, I always tell
God.
people, just be nice to the people
Yeah.
you interact with, and like who are your servers, your coffee, your
Yeah.
baristas. It's like, it's
Yeah.
brutal, you know? If you're upset and you're angry, like, how do you think they feel dealing with everything else that's going on? When some, like, working in like the coffee industry and like being a barista, it's like you're upset that your coffee is taking a longer time, but it's like, how do you think the barista feels who has quite literally 40 orders on their string, and they're trying their best to crank these drinks out, and for you to show them that like, oh well, you're not fast enough. How do you think that makes me feel? You know, it's like, please, I'm going
Yeah.
as fast as I can.
Like I'm trying. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so just things like that.
Yeah. It was a big eye opener for me when I interviewed Miss Gardea, because you never know what's going on behind the scenes, and I just knew her as a teacher. I know all the classes she taught, and Link Crew and Slew Crew. And when she told me that she worked, she was a waitress at night. Right after school, she'd go do waitress just to be able to have enough money to pay the bills.
And I think it's like so sad, especially like
Yeah.
because I wanted to be like a teacher, and I still think about becoming a professor, but our teachers, and not just teachers but other professions around the United States, like you just don't get the money that you need to survive to even pay the bills. And so you'll have teachers
Horrible.
working full on 8-hour shifts, and then right after going to a service job and going like being a server,
Yeah.
working overnight stock because they just need money to make ends meet. And it's so
And they
sad.
always get asked to do extra stuff like
Like,
clubs and sports
always,
and be a
always.
part of this, do this. They always get asked to do more.
Always, and they're not gonna get paid for that. It's like,
Right.
and it sucks that they even have to go through that. Like they have like this passion to teach the younger generation, to be there for it. Because like imagine there are parents who like at the coffee shop that I work at will always joke around and be like, oh my god, like I'm so excited for my kid to go back from winter break, you know, like I'm so excited for them to go because I can't do this anymore. It's like, how do you think teachers feel? They got 35 of those little fuckers running around, okay, and they have to keep them like at bay, right, for 8 hours a day. And then you get to high school and these bitches have attitude. They think they know what's going on. They think that they're the shit. And like now you have to deal with kids with attitude for 8 hours a day. And it's like people don't really think about that. And you know, it's like, and even as us as high schoolers, when we were in high school, we didn't think about that. We weren't concerned about how our teachers felt. It's like, well, we thought about ourselves. And so when you think about what the teachers have to go through, and like, you know, being there for all these kids, and some of them are like parents to a lot of kids too, because you know, home life isn't good for them. And I'm speaking from experience too. It's like I looked up to a lot of my teachers. Some of them I saw like moms, you know, they were my mom, my dad, and it was like I treasured them a lot, but then I never really thought about like what the mental toll that it took on them, you know, to be that person for us, to be that person for 35 other students. And the fact that they have to do more after that, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking that they have this passion. They don't want to let it go because they do care about the future generation. They care about these students who don't have, you know, what other kids have, and then have to go serve a table or do like these things afterwards because they care, you know. It's sad. It's sad to see that they're not valued the way that they should be valued.
Yes. And people always bring up, well, they get weekends off, they get holidays off, the summers.
It's like, what do you think they're doing on those days? Probably grading papers.
They're always grading, always preparing their lessons, presentations. They're in charge of their classroom, like decorating it, all materials.
Yeah, they buy their materials. They're gonna, you know, and if they have kids and family, you best believe that one Saturday, that one Sunday, it's gonna go towards their family. And so then it makes you wonder, where does that time for them go? Like when do they have time for themselves? When do they have time to sit and do things that they enjoy? They don't, you know. And do they get money? But like people are like, oh, but it's worth it because they get paid and stuff. But they don't get paid what they deserve, you know. And and it's like there's a point where it's like, again, going back to like, well, for me, like longest time, again, I wanted to be a teacher, but then I truly realized just how much teachers put into their students, how much teachers put into their profession. And I guess you can call me selfish, but I can't do that. I can't, like, I care about kids way too much that I know that if I'm in that position of becoming a teacher and I have students who need me, in a heartbeat, I'll be there for them. In a heartbeat, I will sacrifice my time, my resources, my money for these kids. And I wasn't even a teacher yet. Okay, I was just an ASB finance direct person. I was working in the finance office. I was a coach. But in a heartbeat, if my kids needed something, oh my God, yes, let me get that for you. If you can't afford it, let me put money towards your grad night. Like things like that, where it's like teachers, and they won't say anything. They won't tell the student that they did this for them. They won't, complain about it, because it's truly they care. They care, and it just sucks when they're taken advantage of in our educational system.
All the time.
Yeah.
And they should be getting paid way more. It's been a discussion for years,
and
because
it just sucks that it just hasn't been addressed the way that it should be. Like,
because they're needed. We need teachers.
We need professors, teacher aides, like people that are around like the youth for such a long time and like multiple times a day. They deserve so much more than what they get. They deserve more than a $10 Starbucks gift card. They deserve so much. And it just sucks that they don't prioritize that here in the United States. And I mean, and it also shows like with the way that our kids, with their testing score, not even their testing scores, but like, with the, what's that word? The turnout, like how fast teachers come and go.
Yeah.
What, turnover? There's no word for it.
Yeah,
but,
I know what you mean.
How fast teachers come and go, because it's not an easy job, and it blows my mind to see like professional like athletes, which is great because that's hard too, mind you. That being a professional athlete, you're built different. But it sucks to see that like, professional athletes will get millions and billions of dollars for a contract that they sign, and our teachers can barely pay for their groceries, can barely pay for their utilities. And that's just so heartbreaking. It's like, how? I can go on about this. This is something I'm so passionate about, because I wanted to be a teacher for a really long time.
Yeah,
me too. I don't want to have kids of my own, and so I definitely would see a lot of the students that I would have as my kids, like I would want to take care of them. I want to show them that like someone does care, because there are a lot of kids who they don't come from good backgrounds, and a lot of like teachers will show them like, hey, like you matter, you're right. And a lot of times for a lot of these kids, that is life changing for them. That is what gets them through high school, through middle school, through elementary, even to keep going on in life. It's like, well, I remember Miss da-da-da believed in me, and that's how it is for me. It's like knowing that someone even truly believed that I could do something. Oh my God. Like I was like, and they just, I wish that people realize the impact that they have.
Yeah, I'm passionate about it too, because my mom is a librarian. She started off at Echo Valley for 2 or 3 years, precious, and then now she's at the Castroville one. Remember Kathy?
Yeah.
She retired, so my mom took her position. She's been the librarian for 2 years now at Castroville, but that they constantly ask her, like during break and stuff, to come in earlier to set up the books, to set up the book fair.
They ask you for more,
and that is all on the side. That's not a part of
you don't get paid for that.
Not a part of the 8 to 2 as well. It's not like a full shift. It's about 6 hours a day. That they ask her to do stuff all the time, and she has to turn it down. Like, I'm not getting paid for it, so I'll do it when I come in.
Yeah. No,
they do it all the time.
It's the same thing when I was working at the high school. It's like I'm supposed to only working these hours, my 7 to 3, whatever my times were. But then they're like, oh, can you work this basketball game? Oh, can you do this? Can you work this graduation? And it's like, I'm gonna say yes, because I know if I don't do it, the kids are the ones ultimately going to like not suffer, but like they don't get those certain things because nobody's like volunteering to do stuff for them. And it's like, there should be funding and there should be money. These people should be getting paid for for their work. Again, you should be getting paid for what you bring to the table. And I'm lucky enough to realize that, like, hey, if I'm not, I will leave. But there are some people who their hearts are so big that they can't do that. That they will be like, they're fine. They're not even fine with it, but they accept the fact that they're going to put in extra work, extra time, extra care with nothing in return for themselves. Because for a lot of these people, just making sure that their student or like the community that they're around is okay and that they're happy, that's like more than enough for them. And good for them if they think that's more than enough for them. But me as a person looking on the outside, it's like, no, girl, you deserve to be compensated for what you're doing,
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. We got great timing. I think I have one more question about any life goals, anything still left for you to do, anything to achieve, anything you've always wanted to do.
Yeah, I'm, for the most part, I'm kind of just taking life as it goes.
Yeah.
There are definitely things I've entertained the idea of. Like, I've always entertained the idea of going abroad and teaching English abroad. I think that would be such a good experience. I think if you are presented the opportunities to travel, oh my God, please take it. Yeah. I think it's such a humbling experience to go to a different country where there are different languages besides English. It humbles you, and just to realize that like you should never feel like you're small, but to also realize that there is literally a whole world out there, that you should not feel like you're restricted to what at least for us, like what Monterey has for you, you know, what California has for you, what the United States has for you. There is a whole other world out there. And even when it comes to like relationships, people, especially now that I'm almost turning 25, are always asking me, so like, what's your love life looking like? And I was like, girl, she's not looking too, like, she's plain right now. And that's okay. And I think there's just so many people. I'm not going to limit myself to Monterey. Let's start there.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's just so many experiences that you can experience outside of where you are right now, and the world can offer that for you. And if you take the chance to travel, put the money, and yes, it's expensive, I know that, girl. I'm in debt, but it's like I will never trade that for the experiences that I had in Italy, the experiences that I had in Japan. It's like, it's just such a beautiful thing. I think it makes you a better person too, to like travel and see like how other people live, you know. So I definitely want to do like I've always entertained the idea of living in a different country to teach English. Maybe that'll happen. I've always entertained the idea of becoming a professor because I love talking about history. I love talking about ethics and like more. I love talking. Maybe that's why I want to become a professor. But I've also entertained the idea of opening a coffee shop. I kind of think that's where I'm going to go right now. That's the route that I'm going towards. I love coffee. I'm more of a matcha girl, I will say. I'm more of a matcha and tea girl. But I think what coffee does is so pretty. I'm about to get all like into like the coffee thing, but it's like I think coffee, when like a lot of people take it for granted, right? But then working at a coffee shop, you realize how many people depend on it, or how it can switch their mood from day and night. It's like you come in grumpy, tired, you get your cup of coffee, and you're like, oh my God, I can do this now. I can get through my day. I can start my day. And I think coffee's so great. And people, when you want to meet up with friends, you want to meet up with someone you haven't seen in a while, it's like, oh, let's go grab a cup of coffee. I think coffee has so much stories. And so I want to provide, like, I want to be able to open a place like that here in Marina. I feel like there isn't a coffee, like a small, not a Starbucks, girl. We're not talking about corporate coffee, because I hate corporate coffee. As someone who's I worked at Starbucks for a couple years, and I hate corporate coffee. But
thoughts on Dutch Bros?
You know, I haven't really like experienced Dutch Bros as much as I have with like, you know, Starbucks, because there's not one around our area. The closest one's like Hollister.
Yeah.
And so I think I've been to Dutch Bros maybe twice. So I don't really have an opinion on them. The drinks I got are pretty good. But I think working at Starbucks has made me like, oh God, I hate this company, you know? And then like, I don't hate the workers. I think the baristas are all great people, because honestly, they're just baristas. It's the company itself that I'm like, I hate corporate coffee.
Got it.
But I really wish there was a small local coffee shop here in Marina, because there isn't. Like, you think of coffee shops, okay, well, there's some in Monterey. Maybe there's some in like Watsonville and stuff, Salinas, but like Marina doesn't really have one. There's Coffee Mia, I think. But I
go there for food and stuff like that.
So I really want to open a coffee shop that will cater like, you know, the community, and like especially CSUMB. As a CSUMB student, I'm like, okay, I would love to sit at a coffee shop and do homework. Girl, where? I gotta drive all the way to Watsonville, to Honey Legs. I gotta drive to Captain and Stoker. It's like I want there to be something in this area. So I think that's kind of like what I'm working towards right now. But of course, life changes like crazy, and if my interests like peak somewhere else, I will be going that direction, you know? Because again, there is no restriction to what you can do in your life, and it shouldn't be like, oh, because I want to do this doesn't mean I can't change the route that I'm going. And I have accepted the fact that, like, you know, if I don't become a professor now, I can always do that when I'm 60. Like, it's not going to go anywhere. I think right now, like, a really big goal of mine is definitely opening a coffee shop. I definitely want to I'm working on my Tagalog, because like I can speak it if I really need to, but I know it's not the best. So that's the only thing I really want to focus on, is learning Tagalog fluently, to be able to say like, oh, I am bilingual. And most people will be like, oh, but you can say that because you can speak it really well. But it's like, no. Like, I want to be better before I can say that I'm bilingual. Like, learn other languages. I really want to pick up Spanish. I can understand it, but I can't speak it, especially in the community that we live in. I'm like, it's really important to know Spanish. And so Spanish, I want to pick up like Japanese again. That's mostly it for like life. But I want to fix up my MR2 that I have that's just been sitting there, but you know, that costs money to fix up my car. So I think that's mostly it for goals. Things that make me happy. I think a lot of times when people ask like, oh, what goals do you have? It's like, oh, I want to be a doctor, which is great. You should. But I think for me, it's very like little things like, oh, I want to fix up my car. I want to modify my car. I want to open a coffee shop. I want to learn languages. But I think it's when you look at life that way, it makes it more bearable, you know?
Yeah. Maybe you can help me find my signature drink, because I don't drink a lot of caffeine or energy drinks and stuff. I've always just done iced tea. and stuff like that.
I love iced tea.
But I try everything. I know I'm lactose intolerant.
Me too.
So I do almond milk, oat milk.
Yeah.
But sometimes the coffee still fucks up my stomach, and I have to
100%.
shit like right after.
Yeah, real.
Shaken espresso I've tried.
Yeah.
Macchiato I've tried, and it's what's that other one? Cold brews I've tried.
Oh, those ones will. Yeah.
They just hurt me right after. No
Yeah.
matter how small I get it, it hurts my stomach.
I think with that though, it's just probably just the coffee. I think it's the coffee that fucks you up, and probably the milk too. So as sad as it is, probably coffee isn't the best, the best
Yeah.
choice. Do you like matcha?
Okay, so I've tried two different. I tried matcha, hated it because it was just a weird vibe that you have to get used to.
Yeah.
But then I added some milk and some sugar to balance everything out, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I will say, I'm a big matcha girl. Like I think I will always be a matcha girl before coffee.
Yeah.
But I do like both equally. Not equally. I love matcha more. But I think it's also because I grew up with matcha, so it's a flavor that I've always loved. But I get so sad when matcha isn't done right, and I think that's why a lot of people will have. I mean, granted, a lot of people like they were like, "Oh, it tastes like grass." Valid, but there are people who will say that they don't like matcha because they had a bad experience with it, or it wasn't prepared the way it should be. And I think like places like Starbucks will be like, "Oh, like matcha," and it's like, well, their matcha is sweet, and their matcha isn't real matcha. And so I when you try matcha, I definitely recommend going to like smaller coffee shops who get actual matcha and will make actual matcha drinks. And yeah, I think like an iced matcha is always gonna be my to-go like drink. Iced matcha with either vanilla or any like maybe it's like some sweetener, and then macadamia nut milk. Oh my god, have you ever had macadamia nut milk? So good. If you're trying to like cut out sugar within like your drinks, macadamia nut milk has like such like a natural like nutty sweet taste to it. So I usually when I get an iced matcha, I will have macadamia nut milk with it. Captain and Stoker has macadamia nut milk, so 10 out of 10, definitely recommend to try that. Iced matcha with macadamia nut milk.
Nice. And matcha's good for you, right? It's healthier than other options.
And it does have caffeine. Definitely not to the extent that coffee does, but it does have caffeine to it. It is good for you, and I just love it. I love matcha. But yeah, I think that's like my recommendation if you want to try something.
Okay, I'll try more matcha
iced
then.
Matcha, yeah. But teas are good too. I'm a big tea girl. I love loose leaf teas. But with me, I'll drink a hot tea, but I like iced tea. And if you add some lemonade to it, that's really good too.
Yeah, that's my go-to. I have a list on my phone of sweet tea.
Yeah.
My favorite sweet teas that I've tried all over the country, all over restaurants and stuff, and I have them labeled because I love sweet tea so much.
No, me too. I love sweet tea. Oh, so good. I love tea.
Yes.
Yeah,
we're coming close to that. We have great timing. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me back again. It's so exciting.
Yeah. Before we finish up, I always ask someone if you have a question for me before we finish up. Anything at all. Oh, and I forgot to mention that you saw me sing at my MPC.
Oh my gosh, I did.
The choir.
Yes, I went there because my brother, he's at MPC and he was taking like a music appreciation class just to get like some of his general ed out of the way.
Yeah.
And he needed extra credit and he was like, "Can you please come with me to this thing? I don't even know where it is." I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I went with him and I saw you on stage. I was like, "Oh my god, hey, that's so crazy." Yeah, so that's super cool.
Yeah. They told me after. They're like, "Oh, Nicole's here." I'm like, "Where?" And I'm like, "Oh, I guess she's gone." I'm like, "I didn't even see her. I didn't look around."
Yeah, no, I was there just so my brother can get his like extra credit. So I was like, "I'll go with you. I enjoy good music, so I'll show up."
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great. I guess like the same question that you asked me. What are life goals? Like, what are you? Yeah, what's the next step? Even if you don't have next step, that's fine. Like, what is intriguing to you? What is catching your interest right now? Because as someone who has like ADHD, my interests come and go. And it's like I want to do certain things, I want to do other stuff, and that's fine.
Yeah. Goodness gracious. My degree is a big one.
Yes, real.
That's pretty much number one.
I guess I probably should have said that too. I didn't even mention my degree at all. But yes, I would love to get my degree soon. Period.
Yeah, that's my number one. God, I don't know. I have a whole bucket list actually in my notes. My degree's a big one. I've noticed the older I get, so do my parents and so do my family members.
Yeah.
And these years are just flying by. So I'm trying to be more present, be more appreciative. My mom's already set on, she wants to go back to Puerto Rico and help her mom. And so she wants to kind of start fresh over there and move over there. So that'll be
for her.
An adjustment because my sisters, they're still young too.
Yeah.
My grandma is at a nursing home in Puerto Rico as well.
Oh, yeah.
Elderly home, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, that's right. Yeah.
Elderly home. And, So she's going through her things as well. So a lot of life changes, and I have some family members that are elderly. So bucket lists, and I've checked off some of them.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
First one was sing the national anthem at a sports game. I got to sing for the San Jose Giants.
Yeah.
Super fun. There's a singer called Jamie Miller who I love. He's one of my biggest inspirations. I love to interview him on my podcast.
Yeah.
I've met him 4 times now, and I'm going to his show on Tuesday
in
San Francisco.
How exciting. Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of his. Get my music degree, I just mentioned.
Period.
I'll check that off soon. Make an art scholarship for North County. I always wanted to give back in some way to our high school in whatever way I could. I did want to.
You've been doing a good job so far. So.
I wanted to coach for track and field at first, but I'm like, oh, I don't have the time for that. It's
I know. I miss
too much
coaching.
dedication.
I miss it. It's all dedicated. Like coaches are underappreciated. The time, the effort, the stress that they put towards coaching.
Yeah.
It's a crazy amount,
and it's not just practice, it's the games, and there's games on the weekends and meets.
It's putting in a workout together. It's coming up with like, routines and stuff. It's like being that support for your kid. Oh yeah, it's a lot.
Yes. So yeah, I wanted to get back in some way, and that's how I did it. See Shawn Mendes in concert.
Period.
I've seen all of my favorite singers. He's the only one left.
Wow.
I had tickets a couple years ago. He canceled the whole tour because of his mental health. I love him, but the tour got canceled.
Yeah.
He just dropped an album, but I don't know if he's gonna tour.
Yeah.
So he's my number one. See Mount Rushmore. I always wanted to see Mount Rushmore.
Oh yeah.
It was no specific reason. It was just I grew up watching it, and I'm like, that'd be so cool to see. And I'm like, but South Dakota. When am I gonna go to South Dakota?
Girl,
So we
gotta do it, even if it's just for that one thing. Do it. Yeah.
We planned a whole road trip. We flew to South Dakota, rented a car, and we just drove all the way down. We went to Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming.
Gosh, yeah.
We went through Salt Lake City, Utah, and just went through Nevada.
That must have been so pretty.
I loved it. It was beautiful. And there was snow, so we packed for the snow, but then we packed for the springtime.
Yeah.
It was nice. See the Kelly Clarkson show in New York. So her talk show moved to New York 2 years ago. And actually,
have you been? Have you seen it already? I feel like you have. Yeah, you did. Okay, that's something you checked off, right? Okay, cool.
Well, her thing was in LA, so I went to the LA one a few times, but the whole thing moved to New York. But I did. I have tickets to New York in April.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting!
So I'll be going.
Oh my gosh,
I'll be going with Samantha, so it'll be fun.
Oh,
this one's a big one. Go to Egypt to see the Sphinx.
Period.
So in 6th grade, I did a project on the Sphinx, and I made it out of Rice Krispie treats.
Yes,
I did all the research, and I just was so fascinated with the Sphinx, and the pyramids, and the whole Egypt and the desert. So I'm like, that'll be beautiful to go one day.
Yeah, the history behind it is amazing. Truly, yeah.
So one day I'll go to Pride in San Francisco. Check
Period,
that off.
Yes.
I always saw pictures and everything. I'm like, one day I'll go when I feel comfortable and confident enough to go, and it happened. Drop 100 podcast episodes. I'll be able to do that with this season.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Oh my god, 100. This one, go to the High School Musical high school in Salt Lake City.
Oh man, yeah.
During my road trip, we spent the night in Salt Lake City. I didn't even know the high school was in Salt Lake City.
Oh no.
I found out afterwards, and I'm like, and we were there. We could have gone. So I got to go back.
You got to go again, yeah, and it's fine.
Because it's an actual school.
Yeah,
and
yeah, I heard about that.
You can go into the school and walk around and stuff. I love that.
That's crazy.
This one's a personal one. This is meet my biological dad. I've never met him. His name is Yoel Sanchez.
Wow.
I'm basically a junior, but my middle name cuts it off, so I'm not a junior. I've never met him, but I know it's up to me to do it, and I have no negative feelings towards any of that.
Yeah.
I just feel like I have to meet him just to say I did it. But we'll see when that happens.
Yeah.
And then make an album. Oh, my capstone for music.
Is it going to be an album?
Yeah, I talked to a bunch of people, and they said, yeah, you can make an album. I'm like, I've always wanted to, so that'll be fun.
That's so fun with like the music major. Oh, you could do so much.
Yeah. So many students, like, they're musicians, they're producers. That's what they do. And I'm like, yes, we can do stuff.
Yeah.
Give back to the LGBTQ in some way. I'm a big fan of the Trevor Project. They're a non-profit organization for LGBTQ education, and they're big supporters of the community. But I want to see what I can do in any way.
I know like Monterey Pride holds like events and stuff. You can always check them out, see if you can volunteer or like be like a supporter of like one of their events. Definitely check them out. I think you can give back to them within that. So like if you want to start small, if you want to start within our community, definitely check out Monterey Pride.
Yeah. And the last one is write a book, which I've been doing for a couple of years now.
I thought of that. Yes, I know. I'm literally the same way. I love writing and I love reading, and I write poems. I write stuff, and it's like I don't know. I'm still on the like the fence about wanting to like publish some of my works and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to spend more time when it comes to like my writing. I journal a lot.
Yeah.
I write about things, but I definitely want to focus more on like the not literature aspect, but more of like the professional writing aspect. But again, that's something that I'm like, it's probably later on. I'm still right now. I'm degree, I guess, and then working towards like opening a coffee shop if I decide to do that.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been writing songs since I was a kid, since middle school.
That.
And then I took a writing about music class, which was actually writing the music for it and music theory. So everything kind of connected. Wow. But the book is more about my life, things I've gone through, challenges, experiences, advice.
We love a good biography. Yes.
Yeah, but it won't be in first person because I realized early on it won't be like a memoir because I don't know if I want a lot of things out there. So I made up a bunch of characters and I made up a bunch of stuff, but it's funny and there's a lot in it and I know how to publish it.
Oh, I love that.
So yeah, it's just a little something I recommend everyone to write a book.
Oh,
maybe
I agree.
Yeah, maybe just write about your life or write just write, even if no one ever sees it. I think it's good to go back into your brain to see how much things you can remember and see your perspective on it, and just go like in chronological order.
And it'd be cool to when you do grow older and when you're old and you don't remember anything to be able to look back and like read that book and be like, reminded of like things that you forget about. And
that's why journaling is important. So you can go back to it, and
you go back and you read it. I'm like, this happened, or this was like such a big part of my life, and now I'm kind of like like it's writing is so powerful. I love writing books, literature, reading.
All right, we're good.
Sweet. Thank you for having me back. I really appreciate it. I really enjoyed this talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much for listening. I appreciate it. See you later. Bye.